Aisha. Yeah.
Morning, everyone. Morning, Sarah. I think we can go to the instructions slide. Morning, everybody. Welcome to today's session, and many thanks for joining us. We are all looking forward, and we hope you will enjoy the session. Let me mute my YouTube. So I know YouTube has opened, and they can also hear us. And the number on YouTube is great. I can count about 30 or plus people or participants joining through YouTube. Just to let you know, you can join either on YouTube or WebEx, whichever works for you. And we will be tracking all your feeds coming through the two channels. To kick us off, I think we'll share some brief housekeeping rules. We do recognize that people are joining from different parts of the country, some even outside the country, and the internet connectivity might not be even or stable throughout the regions. So to help all of us, enjoy the sessions, we'll request that we try as much as possible to switch off our videos, or rather our cameras, and we'll only have the trainers or the panelists switch on their cameras. And this is just to help our participants who are experiencing low bandwidth to enjoy the sessions as well. The last, and how to do that, if you look, I hope we can all see the screen. At the bottom left, there is a turn off camera icon highlighted in red. You can just click that. And luckily, we can see that all the participants, are, save for the trainers or panelists, videos are off. The last instruction from me is about the audio. So we would want the sessions to run very, very smoothly with very minimal interruptions. So at all times, please try and keep your audio off. And to access that icon at the bottom left, there is an audio icon. Luckily, all the participants' audio are off, which is great. And lastly, we'll try as much as possible to use the chat box to share feedback, share instructions as necessary, ask questions wherever, as and when you're struggling. Please use the chat box, and we will be tracking the feeds as they come, and be responding to all the participants' feeds or feedback. The icon is highlighted in red at the far right. Open the chat prompt. Lastly, I can see a few of us have joined, but may not be in a position to participate. I see Charles, I see Mark, and a few of us. Maybe your audio is not enabled. I'm sure you can't hear me, but anyway, now that the screen is here, let me hope that you can see the audio icon. So to enable your audio, you just click audio and select call using my computer. So that is it from me. My name is Ogega Hagai from IFC, and I will be helping in moderating sessions and helping to ensure that your connectivity is okay and we are all enjoying the session. That is it from me, Sarah. I think we'll give about 2 or 1 minute before we start. Many thanks. All the best.
Very many thanks, Hagai. Thank you for that. Just helping our participants on how they can use the platform. Sometimes, in this age of technology, it's really important that we are up to speed with how to use the technology so that we can make the most out of our engagement this morning, this mid-morning. Thank you so much, Hagai, for that. Hagai, please,
many thanks, Sarah.
Okay.
Many thanks, Sarah. So at this point in time, I think we can start, and I'll hand it over to Moses. Moses, the host, to open up the session. Moses, if you're there, kindly kick us off. I can see Moses.
Thank you. Hi, Amin.
Moses, sure, thanks.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to this webinar. Before perhaps we proceed, I would want us to start with a word of prayer. Peter Ndumia could bless the meeting.
Let's bow for a prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, this morning we want to thank you. We want to appreciate your goodness for giving us this day, this opportunity to participate in this webinar. We invite your presence that you be together with us, be with the presenters, be with our customers, the contractors that we here. Lord, as we start this session, we pray that, Lord, you be together with us. In Jesus' name, we do pray and give thanks.
Amen. Thank you, Peter. Again, to this meeting, and from Cooperative Bank, we are grateful that you've been able to join. It's among the several webinars that we have been running for our customers, and today we are sector specific to the contractor, the people in the construction industry. I think this is the number 8 webinar that we ran during this season, and we found it useful in terms of interactions and even passing on information to our customers, and even getting feedback from our customers. So at the onset, I would encourage that we all participate through the chat box, just as Hagai said, in terms of feedback and that participation. I would request that you give us that feedback, your issues in terms of concern and all those other things. Tell us where you are listening from in terms of your branch and even your business. Tell us where you are. In today's discussion then is a unique one. Just as I said, it's Okay, just as I said, we'll be discussing about the contractors and the construction industry. And we have a very special guest who has joined us, and I think in a short while we'll be giving him a chance to talk to us, who is engineers from Kura. We have also Engineer Cyrus will be discussing about the impact and the interventions that would happen there, and will be a coming engineer shortly. We also have Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much. I think Sarah is an expert in this trainings, and Sarah will be sharing with us the experiences out there. She's engaging people all over the world, and I think would want her to share her experiences both locally and even internationally. I think she has been in these discussions for some time. She has been training all our customers, and she has a lot of experience. So I would encourage you also listen to her in terms of the tips that she'll be coming up with on how then do we manage during this period, how do we even increase our profitability as businesses. The third presenter will be coming from Cooperative Bank, and that is none other than the head of wholesale banking, Dorcas Mugambi. Mugambi will be talking to us about the support that we would want to offer, the support that the Cooperative Bank is offering the contractors and the sector. And she'll be telling us about some exciting partnership that we have, linking to what engineer would have said. So Dorcas will also be talking to us about that. And I think the fourth session in the course of today will be a session that will take in your feedback, your questions, and even we will attempt to answer those questions that will be coming through. I think for me that is it. But before maybe I hand over, I would want to introduce my team in Cooperative Bank. That is the key team that will be taking care of us today. I don't know whether Dorcas, you are there. Maybe you could put up your camera, Dorcas. Is Dorcas on call? So
yes, Moses.
We would want
Good morning.
to see Dorcas on camera.
Sure, that is me.
Karibu Dorcas. I think we'll be giving a chance to you. Your chance will be coming after the engineer.
Thank you very much, Moses.
After Farah, we have Bethany. Bethany is our head of institutional banking, and most of the contractors. I think she's a key relationship person. And thank you, Bethany, for bringing on board engineer, so that engineer can talk to his customers. Actually, these are mutual customers between ourselves. So Bethany, maybe you could put up your video.
I'm here.
Thank you, Bethany, and welcome.
Thank you.
The other person I want to introduce is Peter Ndumia. Peter Ndumia, you could put up the gentleman who prayed for us. You could put up your camera, Peter.
Yeah, I am.
Thank you, Peter. Peter is our manager at NFS, and he's the person who is behind the coordination and all those invites that you have received. And he'll be the person hosting all the information that sharing all the information that we'll be discussing here with you. So Peter will be reaching out to you individually as contractors just to help us. Is Angie in? Angie, head of corporate, are you in? I cannot see her here. I don't know if she's in. I would have also wanted to introduce Angela Muga, who is the head of corporate banking. I don't think she's in. I think with that, then most welcome. I think let's participate. As I said, let's get that feedback from yourselves. Without much ado, I would want to welcome Sarah, maybe to quickly introduce the FC team. After that, Sarah, we want to hand over to Bethany, who will welcome Engineer Cyrus, and Cyrus, maybe after you go straight to your presentation. Over to you, Sarah.
Very many thanks, Moses. Thank you so much for that introduction and for taking the time to introduce us to Cooperative Bank. As you know, Cooperative Bank and IFC are in partnership as far as this webinar is concerned, and it's my privilege to introduce the IFC team this mid-morning. Our team leader is Stella Masinde. Unfortunately, she's not able to join us at the moment because she had a conflicting engagement, but we are here to represent her. My name is Sarah Mbinji, and I'll tell you a little bit more about myself as I make my presentation. At this time, I also want to let you know that I'm not alone. And I have a team. I would like Fatma, kindly switch on your video and say hi. I'll introduce you later. Just say hi.
Hi. Hi.
Yes, thank you, Fatma. I know that the third person in our team is Haggai Ogega. Haggai, you have heard his voice. He's been telling you how to just navigate through the platform that we have. Haggai, are you there? And would you like to switch on your camera so that people can be able to connect the face and the voice, if you don't mind? Haggai, over to you. Haggai, can you hear us? Perhaps he's talking. You need to unmute. Haggai, can you hear us?
Hi, Sarah. How are you? Good morning to everybody, and I'm wishing you all the very best. And over to you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Haggai. Back to you, Moses.
Thank you, Sarah. Bethan, you could pick and introduce engineer so that we go straight after introduction is presentation.
Yes. Good morning, all. My name is Bethany Musyoka. Today, we'd like to introduce the keynote speaker, Engineer Silas Kinoti. He's the Director General of Kenya Urban Roads Authority since 2015. He is a well-known engineer registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya and a corporate member of Institution of Engineers of Kenya. Thank you, Engineer Kinoti. Karibu.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Engineer.
I hope you all can hear me.
Yes,
not seeing me.
Who would want to see you, engineer?
That will be a bit of a challenge for me.
That's okay.
I'll make it happen maybe in a short while. Trying to look at where the camera is, technology challenges, but nevertheless, I can ask my team to assist me so I can be seen. But to me, this is a very important discussion for us as a sector, because we work, most of our work we implement through contractors, and most of them are either medium or small enterprises. And infrastructure development is actually very capital intensive, requiring a lot of cash flow, and that's where the banks come in now to support. It is evident that infrastructure development can deliver a wide range of economic and social benefits to the country, and its citizens. And through offering of employment, through accesses to businesses and all others, things which roads can be able to offer. If you look at the big fall agenda, which is the development blueprint of the president, if roads or infrastructure comes in as an enabler in all those, you cannot access have secure food security unless you have roads to access the farm produce and take it to markets, access to health facilities, access to housing, and even access to industries. All roads come in very handy. What we have seen in the sector is that most of the contractors really struggle. Hello, am I on?
Yes, engineer, we can hear you.
Most of the contractors really struggle to raise financing to be able to implement some of the works we give them, and they come to us in many forms. For us to give them some letters of comfort. Please, can you approve this and go to the bank and get some loan and all that? And we actually assist them a lot, and we appreciate the contribution of the bank in the construction industry. However, in my view, infrastructure development in Kenya has not been classed as a specialized area of concern by the banks, because when a contractor comes to a bank and is getting a loan to do a project and getting on the commercial terms, it becomes a little bit difficult for them to manage, and that's why I feel that the banks should work with the government to come out with a specialized financing or customized financial services for infrastructure development. When we were doing the annuity program some years ago, we were having some advisors from known banks and financial consultants. And one thing I realized in one meeting is that there is no technical capacity to understand infrastructure development in banks. They look at things from money point of view. And when I was interrogating the people who were discussing with, actually it was, I think it was Deloitte, and I can't remember the bank. I think it was National Bank. You realize that lack of knowledge in infrastructure development increases on the number of risks, and then the cost of the financing becomes a bit high. And that is one of the challenges you are facing in the annuity programs, where the cost of financing is even higher than the cost of the cost of the construction itself. And it's simply, by analysis, I could be wrong, it is that lack of knowledge on infrastructure development. Maybe it's the time the banks are able to employ the services of engineers so that they can go to advise on those areas. So for me, I'll participate in the discussion as we go on, but I have, in our view, we are really supporting these contractors. Actually, when we give out work, normally say there is the National Concern Authority classification. We actually limit the level of contractors who can be able to do some jobs. Like the small jobs, we leave them entirely for the medium and small scale enterprises for them to do. That is scale, NCA scale from 4, 5, 6. That's where the most of these middle level contractors lie, and we limit and we focus to give them jobs immediately. And in terms of the impact of COVID to the sector, I would say initially we found that we even became busier because we are classified as an essential service, and when there were less traffic on our roads, we had accelerated activities for on our roads. But as the situation continues changing, we have some foreign contractors who have got their own foreign country rules, especially the Chinese contractors who are actually advised to curtail the activities, which actually affected now progress of our works. And then as the situation also went on, we found now government circulars which are limiting movement and all that. Like in Mombasa, we had cases where Mombasa County and Kilifi County, they closed all their quarries and other activities, so we could not work at all. I'm lucky now they have opened. And basically, our work slowed down generally because of the COVID. COVID-19. Because even some contractors were not able to access even some of places, like even some banks where they cannot. You say because of COVID, some banks closed, others curtailed their activities. I would say there's a general slowdown in our activities. Nevertheless, we actually never closed shop. We continue working. We are working even now. But of course, we have to work within the guidelines we are given by the government under the current condition. So I would wish just to stop there and listen and contribute more as we discuss and see how we can be able to assist our businessmen in improving our infrastructure. As it is known all over the world, infrastructure, especially in urban areas, is very key to the economic development of any country. For example, if I give, like in Kenya, almost 80% of our GDP is developed in urban areas, and maybe almost 50% of that is around Nairobi and its environs. So there is need to improve infrastructure in our urban areas, and that one will come through supporting our businessmen, the contractors, to assess what I would say not cheap, but appropriate financing for them to be able to do their work. So with those few remarks, I would wish to stop there, listen, and contribute as we move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Engineer. I think that was those were very good insights. Thank you for that. I would want us to move. We will react to your comments maybe later, but I want us to move to Sarah. Sarah, if you are ready, you could proceed with your presentation. And relate it now to what the engineer has said also.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Sarah, we can
hear you.
Thank you so much for that confirmation and affirmation. I just want to quickly tell you a little bit about myself so that you can feel at ease with the person who is speaking to you. That looks like a picture of me in another life. My name is Sarah Mbinji. I'm a certified instructional designer with the World Bank Group through IFC. And what that simply means is that one of my strengths is in developing training content, and not just developing it, but localizing and customizing it in a way that you'll be able to understand. I've seen that there are people joining us from different parts of the country, Migori, I've seen all over. Whatever we are going to talk about here is very applicable to you. Secondly, I am an IFC certified trainer since 2009 and also an ILO certified business mentor. I have 24 years consulting experience in training advisory with a strong backbone in finance because of my auditing career with Pricewaterhouse then, which subsequently became PricewaterhouseCoopers and many other things in the middle there. I'm a CPAK and a member of ISPAC, the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya. And more importantly, I'm also an SME, just like many of you. I've heard what Engineer says. Engineer says that he's depending on SMEs to get the works done. So I'm also an SME, feel at ease for 20 years. Sio kubahatisha, tunajua panda shuka zote, and we have been assisting SMEs for the last 14 years, just trying to strengthen you so that you can, grow your businesses, better, and also we strengthen value chains like what we are doing here. We are strengthening the value chain of Cooperative Bank, and you are, as customers, are in the value chain. I'm not new to Cooperative Bank. We have had previous engagements in the past, even long before the webinars, and we've done some great work in terms of, just trying to assist you as customers. And I really want to commend Cooperative Bank for taking the initiative to do sector-specific training, where we can get together from a similar sector. We have the same pain points. We can have a discussion around how, what help is in place for us. I'm not entirely new to your sector. I have engaged on an assignment with Kibit there. And as you know, Kibit is mandated to train you as contractors on the technical aspects of construction, so that whatever construction you're doing, we ensure that it is up to speed, that it is of the highest quality. And so therefore, in relation to that, I was able to understand a lot of what you do, a lot of what Kura does, Kera, Kena, NCA, and the different stakeholders. And I really count it a privilege. To Moses and Team Peter, thank you so much for having me on board and trusting me to be able to share some insights. As I told you, I'll give Fatma an opportunity. Fatma, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, karibuni sana for joining us. My name is Fatma El Mawi. I am a master trainer with IFC, and I'm also a business mentor, and I'm a coach. I'm also an entrepreneur, actually a serial entrepreneur. And as Sarah said, we do understand hizo panda shuka zote because we are also in business. I'm happy to be with the Cooperative Bank once again, as well as Kibit, whose trainers I have trained. Asanteni, I look forward to working with you and kindly engage in the chat box. Asante, over to you, Sarah.
Thank you very much. Fatma is an old friend of mine. We met through IFC in 2009, and we've handled quite a number of assignments successfully. In relation to Kibit, she was doing a training of trainers, helping you to train so that you get world-class skills to help you to train. And there at Kibit, of course, there's technical training, but also there's business management training, and that's where we come in. So let's just talk about some of the pain points that we have. And I know that you dropped everything else to join us this mid-morning going into afternoon, because there are certain things that disturb you. There are certain expectations that you have, and you're hoping that some of those will be answered. I would just like to say that if you have any questions at all, please feel free to go to the chat box and please tell us what kind of questions you have. It doesn't matter whether the questions are targeted towards Corp Bank, targeted towards Kura. The engineer said that he's here, and he's going to help us to answer those questions. And also, if they're in relation to business management, that's why Fatma and I are here, and we are here for you. We want to help you so that you can be strengthened, and especially during this time of COVID, which is a difficult time across the board. And I just want to acknowledge the sentiments that have been said by the engineer. Engineer has said that yes, business slowed down as a result of the COVID pandemic, which is a global pandemic. It's a pandemic of scale and proportions that we have never seen before here in Kenya, in this part of the world, and also globally. And there's so many things that have changed in the business environment, but it is important for us to face the situation and then move forward as business people. And really, we want you to be able to move forward. And we hear the sentiments of what the engineer has said. The engineer is saying that contractors depend a lot on bridging options to help them to get the work done. And I think Dorcas will be telling us more, perhaps even dispelling or showing how Cooperative Bank is moving in response to what efforts they are making to understand the industry-specific challenges that contractors go through and help them to be able to get through. And in as much as business has slowed down, I think I want to acknowledge the contributions that the government is making in terms of ensuring that things do not really slow down to an extent where nothing is happening. I've been taking a drive around and I've seen there's some work going on, you know, Ngong roads, somewhere in Parklands, industrial area, you know, Wayaki Way, Likoni Way, and so on. I was just driving with my notebook with my daughter, and she was writing down some of these places, the Upper Hill and so on. We commend the work that Kura is doing through your partners who are the SMEs, because we are seeing that something is going on. Why am I commending that? Because it means that revenue is trickling down. Revenue is trickling down through the SMEs to the end beneficiary, who are the you know, the normal wananchis, and that's great. Having said that, we know that there are certain challenges that we face as contractors. The biggest challenge, in fact, just the peculiarities of the way we do business. We operate, for example, if you ask Fatma and I, when we get some work to do, usually, Moses knows this, Peter knows this, we'll ask for a mobilization fee. We'll say, yes, we are ready, we are willing and able to do the job, but please give us the money, please give us some money first, and then we roll out the work. Now that is very different. Contractors, you know it's like the opposite end of the world because of the nature of your business. You are required to go and do the work first, meaning that you need to mobilize the finances to help you to get the job done. And then after, you now come and present your certificate of works, which is like an invoice, and that becomes the basis of your payments. So for example, I know I have, from the interactions that we have had with the engineers that we're speaking to and so on, we know that you people handle quite a lot of money. A lot of money passes through your hands as contractors. But having done the work, you know, for example, I know that at a minimum, maybe we're talking about 70 million, 100 million, and that would be like a percentage of you know, the value of the contract. So if we're talking about 100,000, 100 million Kenya shillings, we're talking about a contract of about 1 billion Kenya shillings. Now, when you have done the work, you have struggled to do the work, you have tried to look for a financial partner to strengthen you as you go through that, and you have managed to do the work according to the specifications. You have lodged your certificate of works, which becomes a basis of payment. We also know that we face, you know, the challenge of delayed payments. You have to wait another 4 or 5 months, you know, before you see that money. And I know that that is one of the challenges that we face. That is one of the challenges that we can identify with. I know another challenge that you have, because we have been talking to you guys a lot, is this whole issue of cash flow management. Cash flow management. How are you managing the cash that is flowing in and out of your business? Now, remember that because of the challenge of delayed you know, payments, suddenly you find yourself with about 100 million. Now, these are not my words. I'm speaking, you know, I mean, it's and I'll give you some examples a bit later in my very short presentation. It is quite a challenge just being able to manage all that. So the issues of financial management, management of your cash flow, that's not the time. I know some of us now look around and you see a house, kuna nyumba inauzwa mahali fulani, and that house is only 10 million shillings. Remember, you have 100 million. It is quite easy for us to divert that money, maybe to buy a car, to buy a house, and things like that. Cash flow management. Sometimes people say that when you handle that kind of money, depending on the many factors, your experience in business and so on, it can end up messing you up. And I know that's one of the challenges you've had. The other one that engineer has talked about is credit management. because just by virtue of the way the business is structured, the business that we are operating in, we find ourselves in a place where we need to have a financial partner to assist us to roll out, these projects. So credit management also is very critical, and yet it's an important component of how we do business. And I don't have to tell any contractor on board, everybody knows that your banker is your best friend. And I think Cooperative Bank is hearing, you have heard the engineer, and I think steps are going to be taken to ensure that your relationship managers understand more about the the nitty-gritties of the contractors, so that you can be able to offer a better service to them. Time management is another very big challenge that I'm sure you face. In the sight of the challenge that we have talked about, this cash flow management issues, sometimes you may find yourself in a situation where you bought that house, which was only 10 million, but now when it comes to implementing the project, you find that you're beginning to struggle. And in that struggle, it is actually very possible, and it happens from time to time, where we end up extending the time duration of our contracts. And what's the implication of that? If you were given 1 year to do a road, for example, or a certain building, what happens? We all know, I don't even have to tell you, from the 13th month, you start incurring what is called liquidated damages. And those liquidated damages can end up being very, very expensive. It may be a certain percentage of the contract price, maybe 1%, maybe 0.1%, up to a maximum of 10%. So imagine that contract price of 1 billion. And then because of your issues, your inability to manage the time of that particular contract, you find yourself going beyond the 12-month mark. If you calculated 10% of that 1 billion contract, we're talking about 100 million Kenya shillings. That is not money that we have. That we don't have the luxury of losing that money. You don't have 5 million shillings to lose each day because of cash flow issues. Another challenge we have is this whole issue of calculating profits, which Moses talked about. It's very important for any business person to keep their eye on the profit. That's why we're in business. We are trying to provide a certain solution to our customer, and in exchange, we get money. And that money is supposed to help us, enhance our livelihoods, our families, and so on. But the unique thing for us as contractors is, at what point do we calculate that profit? The profit can only be calculated at the end of the project. And that project may be 1 year, that project may be 2 years. And you see, in the process, you're in a blind spot. And actually, maybe after the 2 years, after you've calculated your profit, you realize that maybe you've made just about 10 million. So that's another challenge. Or sometimes we even, we find ourselves in a situation where when you look back, you ask yourself, really, honestly, was it really worth it? I don't have to talk about the capital intensive nature of your business, because engineer has already spoken about it. You have to mobilize your resources in terms of, even before you mobilize the people, you have to mobilize the machinery so that you're able to get the work done. The other challenge I know we face, because we are always looking out for, tenders, and I know that some of us are maybe expert tenderpreneurs, who are listening, who have tuned in, and we are always trying to get that extra contract, that extra work to do. I have good news for you. I have some suggestions for you, which I'll be sharing towards the tail end of the presentation. Another challenge we have, competition. You don't exist alone in this space. You are operating with other contractors who are competing for the same contracts. And now it has even become worse because of the Chinese, the influences of the Chinese. That means that you need to really up your game in terms of anything possible that you can do so that you increase your chances to be able to compete and to continue competing even in the face of COVID-19. Then there's the issue of professionals. And I know that some of us contractors, in our quest to cut down our costs, sometimes we don't really see the value or the use of a professional. Why should I get a project manager on board? See, I can do it myself. Why should I get a professional to do this work? See, my son can do it. See, alikuwa anafanya kazi, hapa na pale. And I know that this is a challenge that we face. And at the end of the day, sometimes we have found that our fingers have been burnt in the process. That is also linked to the point of competency. And that's why KIBIT exists, just to help you as a contractor to get more skills so that even if you have engaged a professional, you have at least some basic skills that will help you to know, is this guy on track or is this guy not on track? Competency. It's not just about saying, fine, I have saved some money and, it's not just about getting the contract. It's about getting the job done and making sure that you make every effort to delight your customer. Because when you delight your customer, you're likely to get jobs. And I'm broadening the, my discussions here because I know some of you are contractors in roads, some of you are contractors in buildings, and so on. We are all looking for more work to do. So competency and customer satisfaction, doing the work according to the customer and the needs of the customer is very critical. Of course, we all know that we're going through, global, climate changes and so on. Sometimes there's an unpredictability of weather patterns. Sometimes we're not sure itanyesha. When we're not expecting it to rain, it rains and so on. But I would classify these challenges broadly, perhaps into two categories. One of them has everything to do with money. It's just financial management. Management of your cash, your cash resources, your credit resources, how to juggle and how to survive in the interim. And then I would broadly classify the other group was just a management issue and making smart decisions that can help you move your business forward. So what do I want to do? I want to give you some tips. Many things I can say, but I'm constrained by time. And I want to offer you some tips. Fatma always tells me, Sarah, less is more. Fatma, I'm listening to you. Less is more. I want to give our contractors 4 tips actually that can help you, just give you some tips of how you can navigate through this time of COVID. Let me start off with the first tip. It's important. And especially now during COVID-19, that you learn how to balance the needs of your stakeholders. Now, if you're then going to balance the needs of your stakeholders, you need to be conscious of who these stakeholders are. Who are these stakeholders and what is their need? So these are the people who surround your business. Of course, we know we don't operate in a vacuum. We are surrounded by a number of people who help us to get business done in one way or another. Some of them are inside the organization, some of them are outside of the organization. So this is just a sample or a reflection of some of the people who interact with us one way or another. So they are the lenders, they are the investors. And of course, each of these different stakeholder groupings has a different need. So these are people who are asking themselves, will I lose my money? I have invested in that business. Will I get a return for my money? Then there's management. How will we continue to keep the business running? And especially now in the face of COVID-19, we are saying that business has slowed down. I mean, it's business as unusual. It's not the same. So the question is, we need to keep our businesses up and running. So how do we do that? That's what is at the top of your mind. Then, of course, they're your employees. The people who you have employed, you're a business just like any other. And these people are anxious. And the questions they're asking themselves is, am I going to get paid? Am I going to be laid off? Am I going to be sent home on unpaid leave? Are we going to be safe as we execute our work? You see, the nature of our work, Mjengo site is very, very interesting. So are we, how, you know, what means are we going to implement to make sure that our people are safe, even in a construction site? It's very interesting. Then of course, there's a customer. That is a person who has given you that tender that you're looking for. How will I get what I need? Will we be safe? There are also suppliers. There are also the regulatory authorities. There's also the local community. How will our town get that road? Engineer has said, when there's a road, it gives access. Immediately, it opens up the place in terms of everything. The entire ripple effect, the entire ripple effect, just because of a road, just because of a building. He talked about employment, you know, creating employment, employment opportunities. He talked about access and employment. Now, there are many things that I can say, but let me just focus on one particular group, which is suppliers. Based on the discussions that Fatma and I had, these are not our words. These are the words of the people that you get. Actually, they are your suppliers. Because when you think about suppliers, you think about maybe products. What are these building materials? I need chumas, I need, you know, all those materials. And we encourage you, of course. And you know, in fact, just because of the nature of your business, you have perfected the art of negotiating with them because of the challenge of delayed payments. So you're able to negotiate with them, warm those relationships. The biggest message I can say is, know the need of the stakeholder grouping and keep communication going even in the face of COVID. Suppliers. I want to talk a little about people who provide service to you. And one of them is your engineer. These are the words of the engineer. They're not my words. They're not Fatma's words. They told us that the minute that 100 million hits your pockets, you cut off communication with them. In fact, they said these people become drunk with money and power. We can't even reach them. When we call them, we can't even reach them. And then now, after the money has gone down, that's when they come and say, engineer, sasa tutafanya nini? You need to manage those relationships. What about these people who work on the site for you? Watu wa mjengo, those guys who you pay 300 shillings a day, koroga hii, fanya hii, chukua hii simiti, mwaga hapa, vitu kama hizo. Is there anything? This is really just a challenge that I want to toss across to you as contractors. What are you doing to assist these people who strengthen your service and your work, especially during the COVID-19? And there are many ways of doing it. You can go and look for some kaunga kidogo, kaskari kidogo, kamchele, and you can bless them with that bumper, that hamper, gift during this COVID. Look for ways to give also during this COVID time, because it is when you give that you also receive. And of course, there's a principle around that. Kisaidia mwenzako, pia Mungu anakusaidia. That's a challenge I leave to you. And I hope that you'll be sharing stories with Moses of some of the things that you're trying to do. In fact, it doesn't take too much to make a difference to the next person. Think about those guys who help you to get work done in one way or another. The other thing I want to talk about is as we go through COVID, with all these difficulties globally, it has forced us to change the way we do business. And in order for us to change the way we do business, it's important for us to adjust our perspective. And what's a perspective? A perspective is how you see something, how you perceive something, because the way you perceive and understand what you are seeing will make you do something about it. In front of you, there's a picture there. What do you see? What do you see? Please go to the chat box and say, what do you see? Please tell us, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? What do you see on that slide? Fatma, can I just ask you, do you see anything? Is there any response? What are our participants seeing this afternoon?
I think the participants are so concentrating. I have not gotten feedback. They are really concentrating on what you're saying.
What do you see? Let me cross over to the YouTube channel. Haggai, what do our YouTube guests see?
Sarah, I'm not yet, given that YouTube lags WebEx, so we give them about 50 seconds or so.
Okay, I'm getting Edward tells us, I see a glass of water. I see a glass with water, and then Bananyongesa tells me it's a half full glass. So
Thank you.
trickling in.
Thank you, Bananyongesa. It tells me that you can see something. And
Hi, Sarah.
Yes, Haggai, go ahead.
Yes, YouTube, Evans, glass half full, Eric, glass of water, half full, Esther, half glass full, Nicholas, half glass full, Martin, half full, AD, water half glass, a glass of water, and water in a glass. Over to you, Sarah.
Awesome. That is your perspective. That's what you see, and all answers are correct. Now we can extrapolate this and look at what is going on in the business environment with COVID, in the midst of the business environment as a result of COVID. What do you see? Do you see a half full or half empty kind of a situation? Do you see a glass that is half full, which has opportunity for more liquid water to be put in? And I don't know why people assumed it's a glass of water. It could be anything. Maybe because they're thirsty, I'm not sure.
Okay, David said it's a half full of liquid.
It's a half full glass that has some kind of a liquid. What am I saying here? Your perspective, the way you see something will shape the actions that you are going to take even in the midst of COVID-19. Some people just say, Sasa, maisha kwisha. Of course, we've never seen anything like what we are seeing before. But what do you see? As a business person, there are some opportunities that exist. Another slide that I want to share here is about the need for us to change. These are the words of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, anybody maybe my age and above is likely to know who Bruce Lee is. And these are the words of Bruce Lee. He's a martial arts artist and actor. He says the stiffest tree is most easily cracked. The stiffest tree is most easily cracked, but the bamboo or the willow does what? It survives by bending with the wind. That's how it survives. And yet the bamboo is a very strong tree. What does that teach us as contractors? It is very important for us to bend in the direction of the wind. COVID has brought a wind. There's a wind blowing in the business environment. You need to adjust, the way you're doing business and perhaps do things that you had never imagined possible. Fatma and I, we will tell you, we had never imagined in our wildest dreams that we would be teaching online. Never. Whenever that idea was floated to us by Stella, we would say, no, that doesn't work in this side of the world. Here, we have to be in class. We have to hug each other. We have to talk. We have to play games. We had never imagined that we would trade, but we are. What are we doing? We are bending with the wind. It's very important for you to learn how to bend with the wind. And I'm going to give you some suggestions of how you can practically bend with the wind. What got you here today as a contractor? And I respect you. I respect you. I know I'm talking to different contractors. You've been in the business for a longer and shorter period of time. Whatever the case, it's not easy to run a business, especially in the construction business. I totally commend you. But what we are saying is the world has changed. Contractors, my dear friends, brothers and sisters, do you know that the world has changed? That it's not the way you are doing, how we used to do things yesterday. We're not even sure whether we will ever get back to how life was before COVID came on board. Meaning, if we are going to continue in business, we must change. What got you there may not necessarily get you into the future. Another challenge I know you have is pricing. How do I price that contract? Because some of us, depending on your understanding of pricing. Some of us have ended up overpricing. We have lost jobs. Some of us have tried to undercut. Unajaribu undercut mwenzako. In the process, you get the job, but you cannot fulfill according to the terms, conditions, quality that is required. So I want to give you some tips of some of the things that you can do or think about. Make sure that the way you price does not block your business. Una price bei ya juu sana mpaka unapoteza tenda zote. You don't get a single tender because you have not learned how to price. Or you push your price down, but you're unable to perform. So when you're thinking about pricing, going forward, remember things have changed. The business environment. Think about this star. Think about this shining diamond with 5 facets. Of course, you must consider the cost. And construction is very structured. Materials ni zile zile. You know, it's basically the same, kind of materials required to get the job done. But also just take a walk and just look around the environment. You never know. There could be some suppliers who may have cut down their costs so that they can encourage more sales. Why? Because we're going through COVID. So if you discover that, it means that you may be able to push down your costs so that you can increase your profits, even if your price remains the same. Again, I cautioned you from trying to cut down your costs by not using a professional. Please use professionals so that they can help you, get you the highest quality. And the more quality of work you do, the more the customers will always talk about, kuja unifanyie construction, nifanyie vizuri, I'll refer you to Fatma, I'll refer you to Hagai. And that's how the business world works. You need to figure out who is that customer, who is my customer? Is it the government? Then what does the government want? Execute according to the wishes of the customer. Is it a local, a private person, an individual like me? Is it an institution? You need to figure out who that customer is. And of course, we know that we price differently, depending on who that customer is and depending on the kind of job that we are doing. Look at also the product features. What are some of those things that you're required to do? I know during my interactions with, within your industry, we are aware of is it the low volume ceiling of roads, that also cuts down, the construction. So as a contractor, you make sure that you do a very strong foundation, something that will last, that, will last for long. And then when it comes to the top coat, you can use something, local ceiling. And what have you just done? You varied the product features, but you've still gotten the job done. And of course, we always do maintenance and servicing those roads just to make sure that, all is up to speed. So the product features can help you to differentiate the price. I remember when this new government came into play and tenders opened up and the space was opened up. And I know, I can almost bet that some of us got into that space during that time because there was more opportunity for us to do and also to, cut down, the costs somehow and allow us, to make a profit. I'm just remembering what the engineer said about the annuity program, and of course the challenges related to that. Where now instead of doing, being required to do a whole road, a whole project and finish it before you're paid, at least now you're able to do piecemeal, and you get paid for different stages of, work that has been done. Product features. How has that product feature been structured? What about competition? What is this that is making the Chinese get the local jobs? And I know. That means that we need to improve our offering and make sure that we are armed to compete so that if we don't get jobs, we may have to close shop. And of course, we wouldn't want that to happen. At the end of the day, I know you have worked so hard to build that business, which has become a brand. Protect that brand. And I've given you an idea, some of the things that you can do for those guys who do construction. And what are you just doing? You are strengthening your brand. And we often say, that what you do for somebody, good or bad, in this COVID, they will always remember you. So always look for opportunities to build your brand by doing things that are contributing positively. And I know shortly Dorcas will be coming and she'll be telling us what are some of the things that Cooperative Bank is doing just to help you guys, you know, as they build your brand and also as they build their brand. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the importance of bending with the wind. And what am I talking about? Shifting your business where? Online. With the advent of COVID-19, even those of us who didn't take technology seriously, we have had to open our eyes to see. And what are we seeing? We are seeing that there is a parallel market. I know you're used to, I know you're very, very set in your ways, and there's a way you have always done business and you perfected it, getting those tenders. But that necessarily may not get you into the future. That's why we're saying bend with the wind. Where is the direction of the wind going? Towards online and digital platforms. Are you aware that there is a market which is running parallel to the traditional markets that we know of? But this market is in the space, it's in the cyberspace. And the question is, because I know that you're all looking for that extra shilling, you're all looking for that extra contract. Are you aware that there is a market, a digital market of which you can become a player? And I encourage you to enter into that market, to compete and to get those shillings, dollars into your pocket. Why am I emphasizing this? This is a very recent survey that was done just to open our eyes to what's happening around global internet usage. This is digital around, digital usage around the world in just as yesterday, as recently as yesterday, April 2020. We all know that the world has a population of 7 billion, going to 8 billion, 7.7. And out of those, 55% of that population globally can be found in cities, urban centers. Now, out of that 7.8 billion population worldwide, we have a very interesting statistic here about people who use mobile phones. And here we don't have to, by the way, here in Kenya, we are a hub. We are number, I think, around, is it top 5, Fatma, or top 10 in Africa, especially here in Kenya? We are right at the forefront. I mean, when you go, you can see Mama Bogas, everybody has a cell phone. So in terms of mobile users, 5 billion people are using mobile phones. And 66% of them, 2/3 of the world population, are where? In the city. Now, when we look at internet users, people who just go into the World Wide Web, when you want to find out something, maybe Wikipedia, you just get in and you type something there. Just for it to tell you something, one thing or another. In fact, there are so many people who rely on Professor Google to answer questions for them. That's what we're talking about. In the world, 4.5 billion people, and about 60% of them are in the cities. Why am I emphasizing this? Is something there's somewhere I'm taking you. Let's look at active social media users. You can't keep on telling us, oh, I'm too old. Oh, hata hizi mitambo sijui kutumia, maybe my children. Who's running the business? Not your children, it's you. And I want to open your eyes to see that there are very active people outside there who are using the internet. They have these cell phones, they have access to the internet. And out of that, the people now who are not just typing, Google, these are now active on a day-to-day basis, hour-to-hour basis. They are going into the internet to look for one thing or another. We're talking about almost 4 billion of the 7 billion worldwide. We're talking about 50% penetration. What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you that there's a market, a digital market. There are people who are looking for solutions. They go in there. Now the question is, can they find you? Ama unangoja tu wakuje kwa ofisi, waende kwa ofisi yako Ngong Road. Open your eyes to see. I just typed, I went into the web and I went into Facebook and I just asked Facebook, please tell me. Actually, I was looking for road contractor, as you can see there, road contractors. And I was actually surprised because I thought you guys do work in the road and so on. There are a number of you who are in that market, the Kenya Local Contractors Forum. I can see there's a group there that has 11,000 members. And I know in this call, I don't know how guys will tell me how many are here. This is a platform where local potential upcountry players are found there, and there are 90 posts per day taking place. There's a road construction contractor, 15,000 members. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to open your eyes to see that there is work. You don't just have to wait for those, tenders. There's work going on out there that you can use, you can get, and they can complement your income revenues, even in this time of COVID. This is a very fascinating something I saw. And by the way, as long as you're able to offer a service or a product which you can you can attach a price, it means you can sell it on the internet. I was looking at this and I was just so amazed, this fractal engineering. And I was amazed to see how they walk you through a construction from the drawings. When they lay the foundation, they take pictures, they show you. When they do the slab, they show you the walls, they show you, they tie the lintel, they show you all the way to the finished product. So hautasema ati mtu alienda alichukua picha nyumba imeisha na sio yake na akasema ni yake. Those kinds of things. I am just trying to challenge you to open your eyes to see the opportunities that are taking place, because in COVID, it's not business as usual. Things have changed and you need to position yourself to take advantage of that. This time, I want to hand over to Dorcas. Dorcas, are you there?
Very much, Sarah. Thank you so very much for that insightful discussion. I'm sure every person here is itching to engage you, but I'll give them an opportunity towards the end of this discussion. So I think for me is very quickly to take us through what Cooperative Bank or what the bank is doing to be able to support the contractors even during this season. So allow me to also request the participants to continue chatting us on the chat box. Let us know your needs. Please engage us. Let us know where you are located so that then it will be very easy for us even to engage with you even after this discussion. We will continue taking those comments as they come through, and we'll be able to address them at the end of this discussion. So in terms of what we are doing as a bank, and thank you so much, Engineer Keno. Thank you, Sarah, for articulating some of the challenges that our customers or the contractors are going through during this season. And so as a bank, I think we are also cognizant of that. Therefore, we have done a couple of things, at least to try and support our customers. And some of the things that we are doing is, of course, you realize customers are hurting in terms of cash flow. So we continue to give them additional funds, especially to complete on projects where maybe, for example, there is delay in funding, or maybe they need to unlock their funds. So we continue to give them additional funds, and also, most important, also restructure their facilities. Because remember, we are all going through a tough season. Our customers have had taken facilities, yet maybe they may not be able to get as much cash flow or much income as they expected earlier on before COVID. So we continue to restructure. So we are encouraging the customers that are struggling to get in touch with us, so that we can be able to give them payment holidays until when things get better for everybody. We continue to offer a dedicated relationship management, a person who works with you, a person who continues to tell you where we are going and where the market is going, especially for those people who would want maybe to discuss new investments, people who want consultancy services, especially for their businesses. And that is where you can see we have brought on board our partners in IFC to be able to partner and continue to give you that care information. We have also created an MSME online portal. This will help you engage us better, and out of that you can also be able to see the new opportunities that you can be able to tap. And we continue to engage our customers on webinars, training them, and walking the journey with them. Of course, we are all aware as a bank, we have also been doing the various CSR activities just to give back to the society and also support the society in this during this tough time. We did that. We were the first bank to donate 100 million, which we gave in cash just to support the initiatives the Ministry of Health is carrying out to be able to fight this pandemic. Moving on, in terms of what services or what other offerings we have for our customers, I think the bank, our biggest challenge has been, supporting our customers and building capacity. The engineer put it very well that what we lack in this side of the world is capacity. And that is why you keep seeing the people who keep constructing roads, the people who take the projects, people from maybe are the big contractors from other parts of the world. So how, as a bank, can we then be able to build capacity so that then we can have our very own companies really doing the roads that we see, the highways that are coming up? How can we build that capacity? So as a bank, we are really committed, and our commitment there comes not only in terms of the webinars we are conducting, but it also comes in terms of financial support. And out of that, then we have various products or various solutions that will enable our contractors then be able to be as competitive as those other big contractors that are coming out of there. Looking at what challenges they have, of course, they have various challenges right from when they tender for businesses. And as a bank, we are committed to start working with our contractors, even from the time they start tendering for jobs. And we're doing that by offering trade finance solutions. These are solutions that will enable them get bid bonds and what we call tender guarantees to enable them bid for jobs just like any other person would do. And what we're doing there, then we have introduced and secured bid bonds, which have a limit of up to 50 million. And this, again, as a bank, we are offering, depending on the capacity and the track record of the contractors. Besides that, once you get the job, then the other thing I know Engineer Kinot will say, what they do is they also give advance monies to help some of these contractors start mobilizing and putting things to the site. So what they do then is to offer advance payment, and in that then we can support as a bank by giving advance payment guarantees. It's accompanied by a performance guarantee, to confirm that actually you have the capacity to be able to take on the project until it is completed. Along that is once you have gotten the contract, of course, the other important aspect will be how do you facilitate or how do you start getting suppliers supplying you with material. It could be cement, it could be bitumen. Then we offer what we call letters of credit, able to ensure that we are taking on behalf of our contractors so that they can be able to get supplies of whatever materials it is. And as we keep working this journey together, of course, we'll take the various other solutions that we can be able to do for you. The other arm, of course, is the lending. This is where our customers, of course, would want to, cash or funded facilities, so that then they can be able to unlock their cash flow. And we do it in form of short-term contractor financing. It could be invoice discounting. It could be certificate discounting. Those are solutions that we are offering for the customer, so that then we are able to bridge the period between when you do the contract and when you're finally paid. You're not dry of cash, but we come in to facilitate so that you can have the necessary capacity. We also take cognizance that you require certain equipment, you will require the movers, you will require the trucks. Again, here we have a tailor-made solution for contractor in terms of asset finance or even leasing for those who would want to take the option of leasing. And of course, with that also goes the OD facilities. These are really short-term facilities. You want to pay employees salaries. Again, we will be able to support you on that. Another key solution, which also is very important, we had Sarah talking about the various risks that come with the construction. And in this, what we do is we are offering insurance solutions to mitigate against the various risks. It could be contractor or erection risk insurance. These are the risks that are every day. It's all risk insurance, and this covers all the various risks that comes with that. We have what we call the WIBA, that is the work injury benefits, and finally the employer liability, so that in case of anything, you are covered and you don't go out of cash, or you're not having the headache of wondering where to get the money. Finally, we have the solutions that are to go with payment, where you need to pay your suppliers, you will need to pay your wages. Again, here what we will do is to provide customized solutions so that you can be able to pay salaries without really having to go to carry cash. And this helps you mitigate against loss. It also gives you convenience because you can be able to access your account from wherever you are. This is through Coop online services, an internet service that helps you then pull money from your account, and you can be able to pay directly to your employees' accounts or to your suppliers' accounts, or even pay RTGSs even out of the bank. For wages, of course, we are offering what we call M-Pop Cash or M-Pesa, where you can be able to pay directly into their M-Pesa accounts. So moving forward then, the question would be, where do we start? And of course, this is where we say we have wonderful solutions which will enable you, join whichever package that is suitable for you. We have what we call gold package. In gold package, then we have these are maybe customers who have annual sales turnover of Kenya shillings 500 million. And what we do in this package is we give it as a bundle, which comes with free internet banking. So you are able to access your account, you're able to pay your suppliers, you're able to make any transactions or even view balances you know, on with the normal monthly charges. We also have mobile banking. It comes with a free PDQ machine, so that then if you have people to run cards and you know, to do any collections, you can be able to do your collections. It comes with insurance and secured credit facilities of up to 10 million. That you can be able to do so much, you know, in terms of ODs or any other facilities that will come in through that. Of course, we also have anything beyond that, you will that and it's a discussion we can be able to have on a case-to-case basis, because it really depends on the needs of the business. Then we have the other category, which we call silver package. And in this silver package, what we are offering to customers with turnovers of Kenya shillings 100 to 500 million. It's a bundled solution which includes secured credit limits of up to 6 million Kenya shillings, which again, have a discussion with your relationship manager, with your branch manager, to be able to see which of these categories is best for you. Then finally, we have a bronze package, and here it's for customers with annual sales turnovers of 10 million, and it comes with bundled solutions, including unsecured limits of up to 600,000. Of course, all comes with the relationship manager who is ready to work with you during to get to analyze and to understand the business needs and be able to you know, come through for you when it comes to the bank. Then what does this all mean? Maybe to what does that mean? It means that remember we talked about the bid bonds. I'm sure most of us will be wanting to hear how have you made it different? As I said, we have unsecured bid bonds of up to 50 million. It's subject to track record, and it's also subject to the business performance. So have a discussion with us, and we will be able to see where and how we can be able to come through for you. Guarantees and advance payment guarantees, we structure them to suit your needs. We no longer want to tell you that we want property, we want all this, worth this amount of money. How can we structure it for you so that it suits your business? And again, here, as you will be seeing, what we have done here is we have partnered with insurance companies and guarantee firms who allow us to support our customers by requesting them to only give us 50% of their security, and then the other 50% we can be able to cover, an insurance cover for you. We also have short-term working capital support, which comes either through invoice discounting or certificate discounting. When Sarah was making a presentation, she said the biggest challenge our contractors face today is cash flow problem. You have done a certain portion of the road and it is taking you another 30, 60 or 90 days to be paid. How can the bank come through for you so that you are able to get payment to proceed with the next phase of the contract or of the road that you're putting up? So again, we are willing to look at, as I said, it's important we get in touch with us so that then we can be able to analyze on a case-to-case basis what will suit you. We have LPO and LSO financing. You have not yet started, but you have an LPO. How can the bank support you? Again, here we are willing to work with you. We are willing to have a discussion and see how we can come in as a bank. On asset finance and equipment leasing, this is accommodating because we are able to look at every equipment and out of that we can be able to give you a plan that helps you pay for that equipment for a prolonged period of time. We have insurance financing. so that then you're not paying for insurance and you're left out of cash, or you're left without money to run the day-to-day business of your company. So out of that, then we can be able to give you a cover which you can be able to pay for a prolonged period of time. That is 10 months. Again, for those who can pay within 3 months, there are all those programs that are important for us to consider depending on your business needs. I'm happy also to report we have various partnerships that we are running with our partners. It could be Kura, Kenha, Kera, where we come into an MOU to try and see, these are our contractors, how can we support them? And we are doing this so that they can be able to build the capacity we talked about, so that we can be able also to build our customers. And I'm sure this is an engagement we can be able to make, so that then once you engage us, we can see how to slot you into those MOUs. Moving forward, down there, we're just talking about flexible security. But in terms of what securities we are looking for, I said 50% security on and 50% insurance cover. Undertaking, as long as they are properly worded and we have an agreement with the institution, whether it's Kura, whether it's Kenha, any of the institutions that is in this sector. And of course, the other security would be property. I'm sure that is a discussion we can have depending on your capacity, depending on what properties you have to offer. Moving on, then it's to ask ourselves, what is our call to action? This afternoon, as we discussing all this information, and what was coming through my mind is, a contractor gets a contract, for example, and they are only given a maximum of 14 days within which to raise a performance guarantee and within which to sign the contract. So what we are saying, you don't have to wait until when you have been awarded that contract. Once you know you're already bidding for jobs, you need to start engaging us in time, so that then we can start packaging the solution for you. And when the time for you now to sign the contract comes, we are ready with the performance guarantee. We are ready with whatever financing support that you need to facilitate you in all this. So then it is important that we start having this engagement in good time. You need to visit your branch or even your relationship manager, tell them, give them your needs, so that then we can be able to articulate them and start working on proposals in good time. Secondly, you need to register for our payment and transaction solutions. This will help you, especially, and give you convenience when it comes to various solutions I've talked about that will facilitate you pay your suppliers online, pay your customers, and even pay your employees. That is very important. So we have people who will be willing to work with you and to train and help you, especially during this season when we are not supposed to engage a lot on a cash basis. We want now to move you to a platform that supports you to be able to do your business online. And finally, it's to call you to start engaging your branches, your branch manager or your relationship manager. As I said, let's start now. Let's not wait until it is too late. We can already start engaging. The challenge we have seen with most of our customers is you come when it is too late. For example, you come 1 hour to the bid closing and you want the bid processed and you have to go and bind. Those are the things we are encouraging. Let's prepare ourselves in good time, so that then we can also be able to support you appropriately and be able to give you the kind of support you need. I'm sure we are already engaging and chatting, and I'm sure at this point then is take it back, Moses, so that we can be able now to open the forum and start having the necessary discussion and engagement, respond to your questions. Back to you, Moses.
Thank you, Dorcas. Thank you, Sarah and Engineer. That was quite powerful in terms of the presentations, and I think the messaging, the packaging that you've done is quite good. And I think for our customers, thank you also for listening to us. Before, as you open up, maybe Hagai and Fatuma, you could be checking on the questions. As you open up, I want to introduce one of my colleagues, who is Angela Muga, Corporate Banking. Angela, if you are in, you could just say hi and put on your camera so that people can do.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Sorry, as Angela comes up, if you have questions back, and somebody has also asked me to introduce myself. I think I did introduce myself. My name is Moses Getau. I head business banking in Cooperative Bank, and I do take care of the needs of MSMEs and asset financing, and all those discussions that, of course, now that the doctors are taken through, those needs come to me. My representative at the branch, the person you need to see, the branch manager and the business banker. So those are the people then who take your needs at the branch level. Angie?
But can you see me?
Yes, Angela.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Angela, we can hear you and see you. Many thanks.
Oh,
Please proceed.
sorry for that. Angela Muka, Corporate Bank. I'm the head of corporate. Apparently, I've been logged in. I've been following the sessions from YouTube, and I'm liking them. I've listened to Dorcas, the engineer, Sarah, the sessions on the stakeholders, the issue of what the contractors need to do, how to change the perspective. I've really liked the sessions. I'm from corporate banking, and we are tuned in. And thank you, customers, for logging in.
Thank you, Angie. Now, and Fatma, any questions, any feedback? Engineer, Dorcas, Sarah, stay around to answer the questions.
For me, I do not have questions yet. What I have is an appreciation for the session. Clients are appreciating Sarah as well as Cooperative Bank for making this possible. Thank you.
Okay, many thanks, Fatma. Thanks, Moses. I think there are some few on YouTube, and our sincere apologies for the technical hitch we experienced a few minutes ago. We'll try as much as possible to share the recording and the slides. So there was a question here, Moses. A participant was asking how World Bank could really help through grants to cushion the MSMEs out of the COVID-19. So just a comment.
Hagai, you're breaking off.
Excuse me.
Is it any better?
Hagai, are you there?
Yes, Sarah, is it better?
Okay, we lost you. Maybe just take a few steps back.
Okay, my apologies for that.
There are a minute.
Okay, now I hope it's a lot better. I've muted one of the audios. So there was a question around how World Bank could help, cushion SMEs during the COVID pandemic period through grants. And my comment was about, World Bank is proactively working with the government of Kenya, associations, but most importantly through banks, to effectively reach out and serve MSMEs, either through the financial needs and non-financial needs. And what we're doing today is part of the non-financial needs. There was a question, and this goes to engineer, how Kura is helping. How Kura is helping the young or the startup you know, engineering firms who already registered, and part of the certificates they've obtained is that they belong to the youth category. There was another question, but I think engineer can speak to that as I sieve through to see additional questions. Over to you, engineer.
Thank you very much, Agai. Before I can answer that, I really want to comment a few comments on what Sarah's presentation, a very good presentation. Against she has done a thorough job on the construction sector. The challenges she brought on board are actually very, very practical, very real. We have seen where we pay contractor, give them advance payment, and he switches off his phone, he goes to Dubai, he doesn't start working until he comes when the money is finished. These are practical pieces you can quote. And the time management, most of our contractors need a lot of training on how they manage time and equipment. How to know the cost of equipment. Some contractors, what happens is that they do not do their mathematics on administrative cost. They look at production cost, but the administrative cost bit of it they do not really take into account, which makes them now lose in terms of their profitability. And then the issue of, she brought a very important issue on use of professionals. I'll give you an example of Upper Hill Roads, phase 1, which we stayed with it for almost 5 years. And you are telling the contractor, please, can you employ a qualified person to manage this contract? Until we can't actually terminate that contract and bring on board another contract. When the contractor who is almost finishing the roads Upper Hill now, actually he employed a Chinese who he was paying 700,000 shillings per month. And the output of the contract was so much, and he employed him for just like 6 months, and everything kicked out. Everything picked up. There was a lot of production, and you can see now the final product of what is happening in Upper Hill. What am I saying here? As contractors, let's employ professionals and then task those professionals for production. Don't look at how many equipments you have put on the ground. Don't look at, you could be having so many lorries and tippers and graders and whatever on the ground, but they are just consuming fuel without producing anything. So as contractors, I advise you to really tabulate your outcome on a daily basis for every machine. What is it producing? And tailor that outcome to build items in the Bureau of Quantities. Don't look at how many gravel you have brought. You can bring a lot of tons of gravel, but it does not result in something which is billable. So it just goes to waste. So always work with your Bureau of Quantities at hand. If you are, whatever I've done today, if I'm to bill either Kura or whoever the employer is, what am I able to be paid? That should be the underlying issue. And then the issue of pricing of contracts. I think that is where contractors go wrong. And we normally give what we call budgetary allocations. Those are not engineers' estimates. They are budgetary allocations. What we are simply telling you is that if you price your bid above that, then you cannot get the contract because you don't have any extra money. That is what we have. But most of the contractors, they look at that and then say, 15%, 20%, that is totally a wrong way, very, very wrong way of doing pricing. In pricing, you go to every item in the BQ, create 2 columns. What are the inputs? And what are the rates? And then see how you calculate one by one in the Bureau of Quantities your inputs. And then from those inputs, you do your profit margin. You want taxes, you can do your profit margin, and then you compare with the budget we have. If it goes maybe beyond the budget, you are able to see maybe I can source this material in a very cheaper way, reduce your rates until you are able to do something which is reasonable according to the market prices. Do not look at the figure we give you. You should be guided by the market prices. What some of you as contractors, I think the mistake you do, you also become, for lack of a better word, you become greedy. You want to make a killing in one contract. You have a contract for 6 months. It is, for example, it is 6 months, 50 million, a small contract, 50 million, but you want to make a profit of 20 million. Who gets that salary? Nobody gets a salary of 20 million in 6 months. If you divide that by 6, that is getting almost 3 million shillings per month. Even the president doesn't earn that. So you look at also your profit margins and see how can I be competitive. And where most of us go wrong is when they are putting their markups. They want to do everything. They want to get rich over time. It's better you become a bit flexible. You get retro markup, be competitive, and continue working. There is another something I would want to comment also is that how do you build your company? For example, you are 2 directors in a company. You do your contract. At the end of it, you get your proceeds, you share. You have no money, you go to buy plots or wherever, you look for another job, you have to run to Madam Mugambi for money. My advice to you is if you have 2 directors in a company, why don't you have a one director, silent one, who is the company? So that always when you are sharing these proceeds, you share as 3 directors, not 2. So the company also gets its share for it to be able to grow. And maybe this way, you'll be building your capacity as the company, and it also you stop depending a lot on borrowing. Maybe the bank side may not like this. The way when you build yourself, then you limit you limit the borrowing aspect. So please also always consider the company as a certain director and let them get their share of what you are doing. From what Dorcas as presented, I really appreciate the idea of having free and secured beds. No bed security, they are really not. They are just there's no much risk in security. So having free beds, that's okay. I agree with that. Even performance boards, you can consider the requirement for cash and just go for collateral. That way, because most of these contractors, they have some collateral, some security, but some banks, they ask for some almost cash deposit. I think that's the way you can assist some of these guys. Same case for advance payment guarantees. I'm not in Dorcas presentation. I am not seeing where you are encouraging contractors if they can use their equipment for borrowing. Then what you presented, you talked about the gold package, the silver, and all that. You're talking about sales. You can see that means now sales. Contractors don't sell; they construct roads. Already it's lost. There's nothing which is customized really for the contractors, and that is what I'm really advocating for. Can we have something which is for infrastructure development? Something which encourages contractors to work more and at cheaper financing. Let me give you, for example, in Ghana is the biggest exporter of cocoa. And what happens, 30% of the export proceeds from cocoa to support infrastructure development. Local contractors are able to get cheaper financing facilities for infrastructure development, not anything else. And what this has done, Ghana actually has the best equipped or the best capacity of local contractors in Africa. And if you go to Ghana now, very rarely will you see Chinese there or this. They have all gotten out. They have run away from there because there's a facility which actually supports local contractors. And Cooperative Bank is a government bank. If they can work with other banks and the government and then create a kind of an infrastructure facility for contractors to be able to borrow from, then that is going to encourage. Like if you have, you can even buy them equipment. They can you separate it from the commercial lending, because infrastructure development is actually an enabler of economic development of any country. And as a country, even whether in private sector or public sector, we need to show a commitment to encourage infrastructure development, so that we can also now improve on our economic, even on our GDP. Lastly, on what, why don't you as a bank consider not giving cash to contractors? Why if a contractor wants, most of them, they buy gravel, they buy asphalt concrete, they buy this. Why don't you consider just paying directly? So the contractor will just be left to look for. If it's fuel, encourage with a supplier, you're able to pay directly. That way, you reduce the appetite of some of the contractors to misuse the money. That's just a suggestion. On the question which was asked about supporting young entrepreneurs, actually, it is a government directive that we set aside part of the work we do in our budget. We set 30% minimum supporting the special groups, the youth, the women, and people living with disabilities. I think there's another term they are called now, I can't remember. So that the youth, actually, there is a special allocation for them. And even when we are doing our contracts, the conditions, contract conditions, the instruction to bidders and all that for the youth and these other special groups are kind of relaxed to encouraging them to go on. We don't ask for bid security, we don't ask for other things, so that they can be able to grow. But it's mandatory that 30% are minimum. But as a Kura, we go even to the point of even 50%, so that you can support the youth in the way they work. I think with those few marks I add there. Thank you very much.
Maybe Moses, if you can allow me to just jump in. Engineer, thank you so much for that wisdom and those insights. I especially love the silent director. You know, we always encourage SMEs to save, and they always tell us that it is impossible to save. Mwalimu Sarah, it is impossible to save. But this is a very practical way where you can actually compel the organization to pay those 3 directors. I love that. That's good. I think, if I'm not wrong, I also just want to reiterate what engineer is saying. Haggai, can you locate that mic, please, and mute it? Haggai, can you locate and mute the mic?
Yes, I think it should be fine now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to reiterate what engineer is saying. I think the commitment of the government in terms of supporting the youth and so on. If I'm not wrong, I think I saw, because we're going in the mid, we're going through the pandemic, and of course we know that the focus of government allocations is towards the medical sector and so on. But I think I did see quite some substantial amounts being paid with the transition, with the entry of the new financial year, the pending bills, and really that's a commitment just to strengthen SMEs. I just want to laud the government for that. I just want to again throw a piece of advice for contractors: please invest in training. the competency that engineers talked about, I would just say, please invest in training. Some of you say, mimi, nilipe 100,000 Kenya shillings to keep it for 8 weeks of training. It's worth it. I just want to share a story of one of the contractors after we interacted, and they went to Kibit and they took pictures. He took pictures of himself and he said, you see, Nasoma, you see. And that, I mean, I was just so proud of him. Of course, we have also had, if you ask Fatma, we've heard of suicide cases, contractors. What's a root? Mismanagement. So all these, tips we're giving you, please implement. Moses, back to you.
Before I take over, is any comments in terms of what engineer has taught us?
Yes, kindly, if I can, chip into that discussion. Thank you so much, engineer. We love this challenge, and maybe a clarification in terms of how or what we are doing, to support customers so that we don't ask them for cash cover. As I said, when we ask the customer for 50% security, it's not necessarily cash. It could be, their equipment. It could be also, it could also be property. It could be land. So we are very flexible when it comes to collateral. We don't necessarily ask for cash. Number two, you have asked what we are doing in terms of paying, instead of giving the customer cash, we pay directly to the supplier. And I did mention one of the things we are doing so that we can ring-fence this and we can support this engagement. One of the things we do is to structure their facilities so that we pay directly to their suppliers. And how do we do this? A contractor may come and say he has this person who is supplying them with bitumen. How can we, as a bank, support them? So what we do is to write a commitment letter, or what we call a letter of credit, or give that supplier a bank guarantee so that then we don't have to release cash before the delivery of the road or the delivery of the materials. Other times, it requires us to pay directly to the smaller items. We pay directly to the supplier so that the contractor can actually do the actual construction, and we get off the headache from them of having to do the small administration work that they have to do. So yes, we have all those solutions. Number three also is the issue of financing their assets or their equipment. I did say we do asset financing. When we say we are doing asset financing, we request the contractor to identify the equipment that they would want. Once they identify the equipment, we actually finance that equipment without asking for extra security, but we only use that equipment as collateral or as security. So those are things we are doing, and we are ready to, we are always willing to engage and to see what other support we can offer. And all those solutions are here with us. I think as contractors now, it's our opportunity to just come and have a discussion with us, and we can be able to tailor-make every solution that will suit them in line of what we have discussed. Back to you, Moses.
Thank you. Do you have any last questions or feedback?
Yes. So I think there was one. This goes to Sarah. How turnover tax is likely to impact, the MSMEs within this field. And there was the last one. I think this should go to Dorcas about the products. Let me see. So yes. Okay, on delayed payments, what tailor facilities or products do you have cushion the contractors. So Dorcas is speaking about, you know, the period they have to wait for the government or Kura to pay them. So are there products they can utilize to ease in the cash strain? Over to you. I don't know whether Sarah, you may want to start, or Dorcas.
Oh, thank you so much for that alarm. I'm not an expert in tax, so I would like, I don't know if Moses, you're able to answer that one, or if we can answer later, the impact of turnover tax on contractors.
Maybe
Moses?
engineer can give it a try.
Engineer Moses?
I'm not sure I got the question in terms of the turnover tax. Is it the reduction or what?
No, I think they recently introduced, if I'm right, they recently introduced turnover tax on SMEs. I think it's one of those the government is trying. One of the tools the government is trying to use to mobilize revenue for budgeting purposes.
Oh, I get it. Actually, turnover tax has been there, and I think turnover tax has been there, and I think reduction from 5% to 3%. So in any case, the impact then is positive for the MSMEs. I know there's still a lot of push for the MSMEs to push it down, and I think is the MSME for now in terms of the reduction. I think it was one of the ways that the government was trying to intervene in availing cash to the SMEs for post COVID recovery. So to me right now is positive, but I think there is a way that there is some lobbying being done. I know from the SME side in terms of even not only reducing it, even scrapping it, considering that with sales. Actually, it was reduced to 1%.
Okay, thanks, Moses. Over to you, Dorcas.
Yeah, thank you, Haggai. For delayed payment, the solution we are offering is, of course, to support you so that you're not in the cash trap. So what we do is, once you are raised the invoices or the necessary certificates, during that season, you can actually bring the certificate or the invoice to the bank, which we discount and give you, we are able to avail that cash, which you get back into the business. So yes, so that means to avail the funds immediately. You give us the invoices, and once the invoices are accepted and the certificates are accepted, we avail the cash as we wait for the money from the government to be availed. Got that, Haggai?
Yes, many thanks. I think that's it, Moses, from YouTube.
Yes.
Back to you.
Thank you.
Maybe if I can just one last comment. There's something that engineer said that I think is really good. The idea, and this is, I like what somebody said in the chats I read earlier. That is Caroline. She was saying that what she has learned from this short session is about the need to think out of the box and to innovative in our solutions. And this is really across the board. Actually, if there's something that COVID has taught us, it's the importance of, being innovative. Please don't lose sight of that good idea that engineer has given. Possibly consider, because from Django, it's the same things in terms of materials. The challenge is to Cooperative Bank. Please think more about that and try to see how you can possibly provide a solution which involves materials and not necessarily, just think about it. And that's all I want to say. Over to you, Moses.
Thank you, Sarah.
Moses, before you come on board, I have a very interesting comment that I would like to highlight. And this is, it was given by Bwana Nyongesa, who says that, number one, he appreciates and thanks Co-op Bank for bringing competitors together, because you have everybody in this webinar and they are compare, as they say it in Nairobi. But you see, instead of just treating each other as rivals, and then they don't interact soberly with each other, maybe a time has come. He's suggesting that you need to do this more often so they can engage more often. But also my input is that sometimes you actually need to cooperate. Somebody can be a competitor, but when there's a job that you feel you are not able to fully do it, rather than to give it up, look for a colleague who is in the same industry and you can cooperate and do the job together.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that our participants kindly look into that. And what this does, it makes you grow, because now you are able to do more. Over to you, Moses.
Thank you, Fatma. I think the word there is the word that I hear is not competitors, but let's complement each other. So I think we're running out of time. And, I want to take this opportunity. I don't know whether Director Jackie has joined us. Dorcas, has Director Jackie joined us? She was to join us.
Moses, I can't view her.
She's not. Yes. She's not in. But nevertheless, we are the blessings and greetings from our Director Cooperative and rather corporate and institutional banking for our customers, partners, the IC, and even the team at in Cooperative Bank. Engineer, thank you so much for your good insights. Sarah, thank you very much for. I think you among us the webinars that we've done, Sarah, today, this has come out very well in terms of now the target market, quite good in terms of the message to the contractors. And based on even the comment that has come through Nyongesa, it means that I think there's something that they have all picked. And I believe every other customer who was here has picked something. Thank you, our customers. And the request for Nyongesa, I think for us to learn more, we still have more webinars that will be running, and we'll be calling upon you to join. They may not really be targeting the contractors, although we would be glad to run one for contractors. But there are several other topics that also touch on the business model that you're running in. And those, I think, will come in handy in terms of complementing. So we'll be sending the info to the branches through your branch managers, through the relationship managers. Once you see, just take an opportunity. I actually have seen my highest representation today was from Rodwa. You can imagine. All the way
Wow.
Ghana, that was a presentation. That's what I've seen from the people attending here. And it means there's that perhaps these people are picking. Thank you, my customers from Rodwa and all over the country in terms of joining. And I'm sure you have picked something. So we are, I think we do every Thursday, but we'll be advising on the next one and perhaps the topic that we'll be covering. I know we'll be discussing maybe business online, marketing your business online, as Sarah told us, but we will advise through the branch network and the relationship managers. I think the call to action by Docs, I just want to reemphasize it in terms of need to visit your branch. Whatever need you have, please raise it now. We are ready to support, and please keep engaging us. So thank you so much, my colleagues, Sarah and team, and engineer, thank you so much. And also my customers.
Thank you so much, Moses. We are ready to give more advice if called upon to.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Haggai, we can leave at our pressure
so
now.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining and interacting. I think you can leave at will. We're looking forward to interacting with you in the next webinar session. Have a blessed rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Haggai. Do have a great afternoon. Sorry.
Thank you very much.